Imagine living in a society where you can maintain your power and mobility from your younger years until you are in your 90s. It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? I bring to you today important information that can make a big difference in the quality of life you lead as you age. The figures are unsettling to look at. 1 in 4 people over 65 experience a fall each year, which commonly leads to serious injuries and the loss of one's capacity for independent living. But what if I told you that there is a way to significantly reduce the probability that this will occur? There is a secret weapon that has been lurking in plain sight during the entire fight against the loss of muscle mass that comes with growing older. No matter how many candles are dangling on your birthday cake, there's a chance that one vitamin will be the secret to keeping your legs strong, stable, and prepared. A recent study in the scientific community found a striking correlation between the preservation of leg strength in elderly adults and a single essential vitamin. This finding has the potential to save hundreds of millions of older people who are struggling with mobility issues, and it is nothing short of revolutionary. It is impossible to overstate the importance of this finding. Imagine being able to avoid the terrible consequences of muscle weakening, maintain your independence, and carry on with your everyday activities without concern, all because of one easy nutrient. You might be capable of doing this. It is definitely and totally necessary for everyone concerned about maintaining their strength and mobility as they age to read this material. I implore you not to underestimate the importance of this finding. Serious repercussions, such as a higher risk of falling, hospitalization, and a loss of autonomy, could arise if this information is disregarded. Instead, the secret to guaranteeing that you maintain a good standard of living for many years to come may lie in becoming aware of this information and putting it into practice. Your muscles will start to degenerate more quickly, even if you are 94 years old, if you do not get enough of this essential vitamin. On the other hand, you can maintain your mobility and independence for a considerable amount of time if you maintain your levels within the proper range. To begin, what exactly is this vitamin that is deemed essential, and why is it so critical to your overall well-being? Be sure to browse around. Vitamin D is a nutrient that is absolutely essential for having strong legs. I would be very grateful if you could let me know where you are coming from today before we begin. Post a comment below. Additionally, don't be afraid to ask questions if you have any. To ensure that you never miss Senior Health's most beneficial health information, click the subscribe button and modify your alert settings. And I would like to know if you agree with me if you are watching right now. If you think this video speaks to you, please leave a remark with a score of 1. If not, enter 0 instead. People are usually reminded of vitamin D's function in maintaining the health of their bones when they think of it. On the other hand, it is equally vital for both muscle strength and body mobility. Research has shown that a lack of vitamin D can lead to deficiencies in muscle strength, balance issues, and a higher chance of falling. People who are in their senior years are especially at risk for this illness. A study that was published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society showed that older adults who took vitamin D supplements experienced falls at a rate that was 23% lower than those who did not. When compared to those who did not take these supplements, this was observed. Low vitamin D levels have been linked by researchers to weaker leg muscles and slower walking rates in elderly adults. According to the results of another study that was published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Pre-Puerto Rican Treats, Hallelujah, and Metabolism, the body will have trouble absorbing calcium if it does not get enough vitamin D, which will eventually cause the bones and muscles to weaken. Sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass that affects over half of all adults over 80, may be accelerated by this. Millions of individuals suffer from sarcopenia. In other words, vitamin D is essential for preserving your leg strength, avoiding falls, and continuing to be physically active as you age. How common is the issue of vitamin D insufficiency among the elderly population? This illness affects a startlingly high percentage of people especially those who are elderly. Even more than 60% of older people have inadequate vitamin D levels, according to recent studies. This figure is amazing. The National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey results are featured in a recent paper in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism. According to these findings, older adults with low vitamin D levels are twice as likely to experience fractures and catastrophic falls. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that women over 65 who took vitamin D supplements had a 22% lower incidence of hip fractures. For senior individuals, extra care must be taken to ensure they receive proper care. The quantity of vitamin D that the body produces declines with age because the body's ability to synthesize vitamin D from sunshine diminishes. There are a few indicators that you may not be taking enough vitamins. It is impossible to overestimate the significance of vitamin D in maintaining strong bones, muscles, and immune systems. However, a significant portion of the population is deficient in this essential vitamin, which results in a number of obvious health problems. In the paragraphs that follow, some of the most typical signs that could point to a deficiency will be covered. The weakening of the muscles is a major indicator that there is insufficient vitamin D. It is possible that you are lacking in vitamin D, a substance essential for healthy muscle function, if you often feel weak or unsteady in your legs, especially when standing or walking. Additionally, because balance is impaired and muscle strength is diminished, two things that impair stability, this may result in a high frequency of falls. Older adults have higher levels of vitamin D than younger persons because vitamin D levels steadily decline with age. This is because as people age, their vitamin D levels progressively decline. Another common complaint, particularly in the lower back, is bone discomfort. The affected areas are the legs or joints. If the body does not get enough vitamin D, it may cause bones to become weaker and more prone to pain or discomfort. Vitamin D has an important role in promoting calcium absorption throughout the body. Slow wound healing may also be caused by a deficiency of vitamin D, which is essential for tissue repair. Vitamin D has a key role in tissue repair. There is a chance that low vitamin D levels will slow down the healing process and raise the risk of infection. Additionally, you can have leg cramps or spasms, especially at night, because vitamin D regulates how your muscles contract. This is particularly valid if you're sleeping outdoors. Regular cramping from a deficit might make it difficult to obtain a good night's sleep and make it difficult to move around in general. If you find yourself experiencing any of these symptoms, you must seek the advice of a medical professional who is qualified to help. Low levels of vitamin D can be verified with a simple blood test. If necessary, your doctor may advise you to take supplements, change your diet, or spend more time in the sun to get your vitamin D levels back to normal. These are the most effective ways to produce more vitamin D. 1. More sunshine means more exposure to the sun. When your skin is exposed to sunlight, your body may be able to create vitamin D on its own. However, your skin loses its capacity to retain its beauty as you age. Try to spend 20 to 30 minutes outside in direct sunlight at least 3 to 4 times a week. This increases the possibility that you will not be able to convert sunlight into vitamin D, in addition to increasing the possibility that you may be vitamin D deficient. By doing this, you will be able to greatly increase the amount of vitamin D that you receive from the sun. Since the sun's rays are strongest during this time of day, the optimal window for vitamin D production is between 10 and 2 p.m. You might not receive enough sun exposure during your lifetime if you reside in a region that commonly suffers long winters or is cloudy. When such an event occurs, using a vitamin D lamp could help replicate the effects of natural sunshine and boost vitamin D production. In situations when adequate levels of sunshine cannot be obtained, it is essential to rely on dietary sources and supplements to maintain a healthy level of vitamin D in your body. Additionally, be careful to include foods high in vitamin D in your diet. Even though food alone may not be able to provide all of the necessary vitamin D, eating foods high in vitamin D can help raise your levels and support your general health. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and tuna are very good suppliers of vitamin D and can be considered nutritional vitamins. A variety of different foods also contain vitamin D. The majority of the daily requirements for vitamin D can be met by eating a dinner of salmon, which is about 3.5 ounces in size and contains about 570 international units of vitamin D. Vitamin D can also be found in egg yolks. About 40 international units of vitamin D, which the body may absorb, are found in a single yolk. Dairy products, which include milk, yogurt, and cheese, are a simple and practical way to boost vitamin D intake. Cheese, yogurt, and milk are just a few of the dairy items that contain vitamin D. Additionally, mushrooms are a great option for vegetarians seeking to add vitamin D to their diet because they are the only plant-based food that naturally creates the vitamin when exposed to sunshine. Moreover, alternative plant-based diets do not synthesize vitamin D. To meet their daily needs and keep their health at its best, a significant portion of the elderly population may need vitamin D pills. This is because obtaining a sufficient amount of vitamin D alone from food consumption may be difficult. Third, consume a vitamin D supplement. For older adults, taking vitamin D supplements is often the most reliable way to ensure that they are getting enough vitamin D, especially when food intake and sun exposure are inadequate. Age is one element to take into account when calculating the required daily consumption. The recommended daily intake for adults aged 50 to 70 is 600 international units, IUU, whereas for adults over 70, the recommended daily intake is 800 to 900 international units, or $2,000 IU. Vitamin D3, often referred to as cholecalciferol, is thought to be the most advantageous form of vitamin D supplementation, since it is more readily absorbed by the body and has a higher level of effectiveness than vitamin D2. Since vitamin D is fat-soluble, it is advised to take it with a meal that includes healthy fats for optimal absorption. To get the best results for your unique health needs, it is crucial to speak with a healthcare provider about the ideal dosage before starting to use any new supplement. Fourth, measure your vitamin D levels and magnesium intake together. If you work as a nutritionist, you know that the body needs magnesium to activate vitamin D. However, if your body does not have enough magnesium, it will not be able to absorb or use it efficiently, no matter how much vitamin D you consume, how much sunlight you receive, or how much magnesium you consume. If you want to encourage your body to activate vitamin D, include foods that are high in magnesium in your diet. Leafy greens like spinach and kale, as well as whole grains like brown rice and oats, nuts and seeds like pumpkin seeds and almonds, are among the most plentiful sources of this mineral. Individuals who struggle to obtain enough magnesium from their diet may find that taking a supplement might help them stay healthy. Combining magnesium with vitamin D can optimize its effects, including improvements in bone health, muscle strength, and general mobility. The mineral magnesium contains the mineral magnesium. How much longer will it be? It can be a while before you see any changes if your initial vitamin D levels are low. This is due to the possibility that it will take some time to return to optimal levels and observe discernible changes in your health. It's safe to assume that after 2 weeks, you'll have more energy and fewer muscular cramps overall. 1 month later, the legs have grown stronger and the balance has improved. By the time the animal is 3 months old, its bone density has improved and its risk of falling has decreased. A study found that taking vitamin D for 3 to 6 months reduced the incidence of fractures by 40%, increased muscle strength by 35%, and decreased falls by 31%. Senior citizens experience these advantages. It is imperative that one's approach be consistent. The maintenance of leg strength for many years to come will be greatly aided by daily vitamin D consumption. It is impossible to overstate the importance of vitamin D in maintaining mobility, preventing falls, and maintaining independence. Proactive actions are necessary since a significant portion of the elderly population is not receiving proper care. You are allowed to do the following today. It is advised that you have your vitamin D levels checked on a regular basis. Take advantage of the summer sun for 20 to 30 minutes, several times a week. It is advised that you eat foods high in vitamin D, such as dairy products, eggs, and fatty fish. The recommended daily intake of vitamin D3 supplements is 800 to 2,000 international units for optimal benefits. To improve its absorption, combine it with magnesium and expose it to the sun for a while. This will be beneficial as well. Does your diet provide you with enough vitamin D? Please share your thoughts by posting a comment below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel when searching for more health-related material. Now, let's give a quick synopsis to conclude our video. Imagine being able to maintain your strength and mobility well into your 90s. Does that seem unrealistic? That isn't true. Every year, 1 in 4 people over 65 suffers a fall, which commonly leads to serious injuries and a loss of independence. However, there is a simple way to alleviate this risk. D for vitamin. Although most people associate vitamin D with bone health, studies have revealed that it is also necessary for maintaining balance and muscle strength. Its absence results in weakened muscles, a slower walking pace, and an increased risk of falling. Studies show that older adults who take vitamin D supplements are 23% less likely to fall, and that people with higher vitamin D levels are more mobile and independent. What is the problem exactly? Over 60% of elderly people are insufficient. Our ability to produce vitamin D from solar exposure declines with age, increasing the risk of fractures or falls. Leg cramps, bone pain, muscle weakness, and poor wound healing are all signs that may point to a deficiency. A simple blood test can verify if your levels are low if you experience any of these symptoms. If you want to maintain good vitamin D levels, spend 20 to 30 minutes in the sun several times a week. Consuming foods high in vitamin D, such as fatty fish, eggs, and fortified dairy products, is especially crucial if you don't get much sun exposure. When magnesium and vitamin D are combined, absorption can be further increased. Within a few weeks, you should start to experience less muscle cramping and have more energy, though you won't notice improvements immediately. Within a few months, there is a noticeable decrease in the chance of falling, an improvement in balance, and an increase in bone density. By managing your vitamin D intake, you can increase your chances of retaining your strength, independence, and mobility for many years to come. Continue moving forward, monitor your levels, and act.